So, does anyone, first of all, have any questions or need anything by way of a reference um, to
So Simon, while you're talking, I'll let people in.
Oh, thank you. Okay, that's very kind. Thank you. And apologies, I tend to have a not entirely stable internet, which I never know about because I don't get warning messages telling me, and then
And
oh,
you
hear a
pray.
word you said. Anyway, I'm hoping.
You are
Oh,
breaking up a bit now, actually.
am I? Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop talking. So the invitation is to have a shell is to um, just draw it any way you choose, and if you, what I'll do is I'll put the a link via in the chat for anyone just in case there's anybody else able to access or because it's just such a useful record flyer with various images on it.
Mm.
Um, what did occur to me from looking at the flyer was that as well as perhaps wishing to make a drawing or a painting of the shell in front of you, there's also an opportunity to one of Ruskin's more diagrammatic drawings where he's just drawn a shell in the abstract with a spiral three times at sizes. So it might be interesting, and I speak as somebody who is not an artist myself, to, in a sense, abstract your shell, to
Mm.
just look a little bit at what is the underlying structure of it, if it's one which has got kind of different textures and curves to it. Obviously, if you're doing a smooth shell, it might be different, but just to notice the kind of underlying, what Ruskin sometimes refers to as the kind of hidden geometry of the shell might also be an interesting exercise over the course of the hour that we are going to share together. So, welcome to those of you who've just joined us. This is a shared drawing session where all the invitation is to draw a shell, ideally a shell that you have in front of you. I'm working on this, um, and we don't have, if you like, a lead tutor who is here to guide us through the exercise. This is just about sharing this space and enjoying the opportunity both time to have a look. Um, so anybody is very welcome to chip with if shells are something I've drawn or painted before, and you have some observations or some thoughts or guidance, please share it. Um, Otherwise, the invitation is to chat about it.
Mhm.
So I'm just doing now what I should have done before showing up, and that's really quickly looking at Ruskin's General Index to find he did do a lesson about drawing shells, and I'm trying to find it, and I should have
Ah,
thought of this earlier. So maybe if we pause for a break mid-drawing, I'll share the Ruskin quotation.
okay,
Mm.
wonderful.
So I have found the one where he sort
Mm,
of talks a bit about drawing shells, or at least one of the times that he does it. If I share screen for a minute, anybody
mm,
who wants to be able to see it can see it because I think it could be the one you were talking about, Simon,
mm.
where, come here, share, there we go, where he's drawn
Ah,
a shell
Hmm.
as sort of an example, and in the lead up to it, sort of gives advice about how to do it. So draw a horizontal line through the point in the center of this figure. Then measure the breadth of the six coils on each side, counting from the center backwards and forwards, and so on. And so he talked us through a bit around drawing that particular shell as a model. And there are other examples too, but I won't take the time to do that now.
Wonderful.
Just
Thank you.
encourage people to go into the general index of the library edition and sort of see what you find.
Mm. Would you just post that link in the chat?
Yes, now I've gone
Is that
into
possible?
it via things I've downloaded, so give me a
Ah,
minute. Oh,
okay.
I might be able to put that in as an attachment in the chat. Let's see. Can I add a file? No, it's not letting me add a file. Um, but I can pull it off the Ruskin page. Hmm.
Hmm.
Helen, were you already in the room or have you only just joined us? And if you've only just joined, we're simply working on drawing a shell at the moment. And I'm not quite sure what time we're actually regrouping. Simon, are we planning a specific time to?
I'm imagining the whole session lasting an hour,
Okay.
so perhaps in sort of 20 minutes we might pause and take
Compare
stock and
notes?
compare notes, see how we're all doing. Yeah.
Mhm. Mm.
Lesson one is line drawing. The line is really the beginning of drawing. Well, in fact, it starts with a dot, but that dot very quickly turns into a line. Now, the most common use of the line drawing is to create something we call an outline. In the case
whoever's listening, yeah, you're welcome to listen, but either introduce it and explain it to us, or if you could mute yourself so we don't hear it. Thank you. So just a time check. We've been here for an hour now. Seems like everyone is in deep concentration. Let's maybe say that in 10 minutes or so, we will take stock and check in with each other.
Mhm.
So I don't want to be a killjoy, but I'm going to suggest a couple more minutes and then we'll pause. Okay, how's everyone doing?
I've stopped. Partly because I think I was touching my pencil too tightly and my hand's now stiff. But yeah.
Yeah,
Any reflections on how it is to approach a shell?
Hard,
yeah.
really hard.
Definitely not something to do in one session or to get right in one session, I think. It
Yeah.
needs repeated failures, I think. In my case, anyway. I think they look more like sort of sci-fi objects, what I've drawn.
Mm.
Kind of
Well,
interesting in a way, but not what Ruskin wants you to do.
Anyone else? Any thoughts or indeed anyone willing to share how their mark making has gone? Paul,
It's all right.
I'll just pin you.
Is that better? Oh yes. Okay, Joe. I'll stay still.
Better.
All right.
Good.
Great.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Has
Yeah.
that sort of rising sun feeling shells can have when you look at them.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Lovely.
Following the logic of the growth line.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried to do that, but not with the same sense of success as you.
Well, Doris knows. I used to do this as an undergraduate geologist many decades ago. So I've got a bit of
We
a
should have had you lead the session then, Paul.
No. But if you're working with gastropods, like Rachel put up the one with the spiral, the schematic spiral, they all follow a specific mathematical logic, which is largely invariant, but is also affected by the animal's environmental conditions through its life. Damage, attack, changes in water conditions, all sorts of environmental stuff. And I doing this, I think that's part of the attraction is that yes, they look beautiful in themselves, but I like seeing that logic, and to me, like I didn't actually follow a career as a paleontologist, but I might have done. I became a map maker, but I pick up fossils. I look at fossils, and I always have a kind of, sort of this remote and yet real respect for their lives, really, which you can see there to some extent in what's left of them, which in the case of these things, is just it's their outer shell, really. The animal itself is gone. I've got one piece of rock which I've drawn, and I might have shown it to Doris some years ago, which it's a bunch of small brachiopods called pterobrachylids. And it's evident to me the way they're distributed through this rock and what the rock actually is that they've all been killed in a storm. you know, so it's quite touching, really.
Mm.
You know, yeah, that's the way I kind of think about it.
Thank you.
Mm.
Mm. Anyone else want to share either an observation or what you've been drawing or painting or any sort of, yeah.
I'll show. I ended up doing
Oh,
4 times.
Remarkable attempts.
I'm very
oh,
aware that
yes,
Kateri would have been saying I was going way too fast. Um, the final attempt is the one I'm the happiest with,
yes,
partly because instead of starting with the center spiral, I instead just picked a random green spot on my shell and just started working from there. More akin to, I think, what we would have done in the other session than what I was initially doing. And it did seem to work out better. I
Mm.
ended up drawing more what I was seeing rather than what I expected to see, if that
Mm.
makes sense.
That makes perfect sense, and I think it's a really lovely drawing, actually.
yeah.
Thank you.
Final one really, it really shows you've got somewhere. I mean,
Thank you.
I'm not half as good, but I'm just going to show you my phages. So I come off the throne of being someone who knows how to draw. The first ones are really pretty awful, but I was seduced by the tartan pattern of that shell.
Right, yes. Yeah.
I'm gonna try. Okay, that's number 2, and then to follow Rachel. Oops, it's a concertina, which is a bit complicated. Then the most awful one is number 3. Mea culpa, I feel like I'm confessing.
Oh,
And then
it's lovely, Gravoris. So small.
and the one I'm actually happy with, although it's nothing to do with Ruskin, but because it's just crazy, is this one.
Mm.
Yeah.
Sort of a bit like an underwater kind of satellite or something.
Sort of gets essence of shell happening somehow. Yeah.
I don't know. I used to be better at this. I remember doing some shells for my PhD, so I think I just have to get back into the swing. It's practice, isn't it? No, I've shown my awful stuff. Surely people should have courage to show their much better stuff.
I've got a
What you
flying,
did show
I've
is
got
very
a
nice.
flying saucer.
Claire, let's see your flying saucer.
It also sounds good.
Come on then.
On your theme of
Oh, wow, it's
Oh,
great.
it's
Oh,
beautiful.
that's gorgeous.
Beautiful.
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 yeah,
Yes.
doesn't look much like the shell. It's
Did you
like
show,
it
could
was
you show
the
it?
it was the frustration of like trying to get the initial form of it is just sort of thwarted me a little bit.
Okay.
And then I sort of thought, like, why am I trying to draw this shell? But I really liked, Paul, what you were saying about, just that reminder of connecting with this as a life form,
There's a life
or as
living
a
thing.
past life form, and thinking about how those things have been,
Yeah.
formed and deposited, and then that I think if you'd said that, it sort of maybe helped to connect again, because I was feeling a bit disconnected and a bit frustrated with it, and
Could we see your shell that you were drawing?
yeah, I was looking down at that.
Oh, yeah.
That was the shape.
Ah, patella vulgata.
Say it
Sorry.
again, Paul. Say it again.
I used to have a paleontology lecturer. He was a bit of a and he used to actually throw things at us in the air, and we had to actually identify them before we caught them. You know,
Wow.
I'm a bit rusty.
I felt like
40
throwing
years
my
on, I'm
shell through
rusty,
the
but I
air, to
can
be
still
honest with
remember
you,
some of
Paul. I nearly threw it at the wall, but I didn't. I persevered. Sorry for bringing that vibe.
Bloody Bob Watley.
Wonderful. Brilliant.
Well, it was great having the space where you're sort of contained, and then maybe at another point you'd be like, what, and just not continue. So that perseverance, I think, within the group,
Yeah.
Yes.
gives you that sort of sense of actually just keep going
Yeah.
with it.
Given up,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
At what point does pure observation actually require interpretation as well? Because I've had to interpret with this as not every line is exactly on the shell because some of the lines are so very fine. And so what do? You have to interpret at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, and edit. I don't know. I don't know what other people think about that.
Well, I think the truth. Sorry, I'm Helen. Sorry for being in and out of the video thing. It turned out my phone was linking to my car parked outside. So apologies for that. So I'm now at the other end of the house in the kitchen. I think that point about interpretation is interesting. I had to sort of the way I stopped myself from sort of fanatically looking at the detail of things was twofold. One is I do a lot of the first drawings are blind drawings, so I'm not looking at the paper when I'm drawing the first kind of outliney thing. And the second was I really started thinking about the way we look at things, and it was mobile phones that made me look at that. We're used to seeing photographs of things where everything is in detail, but that's not how we see things. Our eyes are only focusing probably on one tiny portion of that shell at any one time. And that for me was kind of a game changer, really, when I stopped trying to do everything. I'm not talking here as an expert in this at all, but it did stop me worrying about trying to do everything. And I think it's been interesting doing this course because at the beginning we were looking at everything, and as the months have progressed, we've started more working towards the feeling of things.
Yeah.
I've really appreciated that.
Yeah, that reminds me of I was recapping on Doris's session. Watching it for the first time today. In terms of the how you try and work with the volume of something, and then you get a sense. I mean, obviously the scale when you're looking at a shell it's a very small scale, but that same rule applies. In just how would you capture that? It's the impossibility of capturing all of the detail within that shell is as impossible as if you were looking at a full tree.
Yeah.
So that methodology that Doris was sharing around getting a sense, at some point you move towards it. I think maybe that thing is frustrating because I get a sense of when I'm moving away from that and I'm moving towards a approximation. I feel like then I'm maybe failing a bit.
I don't think so. I think you're wonderful. But I mean, thank you very much for the compliments. But I think the laws Ruskin gives us for how to deal with quantity, I don't think we can really apply that to the shell because I can't just pluck bits out to make it simpler. Whereas with the leaves, I could reduce the volume of information physically.
Yeah.
That bit we can't do with the shell, but we have to select. I totally agree with Paul and with Helen that we have to select, and that's how we navigate in the world normally, unless we screen all the time, which of course we're increasingly doing. But if you normally walk through space without looking at a screen, you would do exactly what Helen said, wouldn't you? You would just in one point at the time.
I was struck. I mean, I noticed many of us are wearing glasses. I was struck at one point. I felt the urge to take my glasses off and move to a point where it was in focus, and it was a completely different shell. That at this distance, my sight and my glasses are doing certain things and certain levels of editing depending on what the lens is doing, and therefore I was noticing things more in relation to light and shadow. And then close up texture suddenly kind of erupted. And my whole balance of where things were shifted. And so I was thinking, just even in that simple fact of glasses on, glasses off, immediately to perspectives and to, if you like, levels of interpretation, just in what we receive into the retina, let alone what our brain does with it, which thought gets to the hand.
I think if you've got bifocals, it must be even worse. I do sort of my handmade bifocal, which means I let the glasses slip to the top of my nose and I can look over the glasses.
Right.
But are you constantly switching then, aren't you? If you have bifocal or if you use bifocal glasses.
Yeah.
That's not very helpful for the drawing, I don't think.
No.
What do you do? Did you try and do one without glasses then? Did you do drawing without glasses?
No, I didn't. I just sort of had glasses on and off as I was doing attempting the one drawing. But I think another time that might be very interesting. It's just to actually.
I think so, and it would also not to forget this old saying which Ruskin talks about, that one should close one eye. Actually, it helps as well. If you can keep it shut, or you have to get yourself a pirate thing, you know, like one of those black things over the eye.
Yeah. So it's 3:30, so I think we should pull this session to a close. Thank you so much, all of you, for coming and for participating in this collective action. There's something what I love about it, apart from everything else, is here we are online, which is this hugely disconnecting thing in so many ways. And yet somehow here we are, all our spaces, feels like physical spaces we're in, all blend, and we're suddenly in one lovely studio of space. Feels very kind of tangible. So often it doesn't online. Maybe because we all know that we're all, and heart are all in place in the space that we're inhabiting.
Is there anyone else who hasn't shown theirs yet and wants to show it?
Uh-huh.
I thought I just saw Helen's flick
Yeah, I
by.
don't mind. I don't mind. Hang on. Trying to get out the sunlight. Oh, how am I going to do that?
Is it charcoal?
Oh, lovely.
No, it's pencil.
Oh, it's
Hang on.
pencil. Wonderful.
Oh, hell's teeth.
Ah,
Trying to do this in a kitchen is really difficult.
good.
Right. Have I got it?
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
That's
lovely.
That's it.
That's one. And then that's the other.
Lovely.
And the texture is wonderful that you've got happening.
Wow.
Is that partly paper, or is that entirely what you've done with hand?
Okay, so it's a 4B pencil.
Yeah.
And a rubber. And it's actually, because this is the paper I had to hand in the kitchen, it's actually acrylic paper. It's acrylic painting paper. So it has got a surface, it's got a texture to it, it's got a nap.
Very nice.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing.
Well, it's 10 times easier if you've got the right paper, isn't it? And that was chance. But when you get up close to it, it's very grainy. So it stops you being too fine.
I've just made a note, acrylic paper, on my notepad. That I'm going to try that.
Cheap and cheerful. I bought it in the local hardware shop.
I'd say if you get a
200 grams. There we go.
Sorry. I'd say if you get a cold press paper, that will have a similar effect, like a watercolor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's because it's cheap. It wouldn't take much work. You couldn't work it too much.
Well, mine is on, this one is, for drawing, I normally use a BFK paper, which has got a very fine tooth. But this is watercolor paper, and that has some of that effect, but not as subtly done as yours, Helen. Yeah.
Good.
It's a lovely exercise, isn't it?
Yeah. So in conclusion, the invitation to the April session, it's going to be on Saturday, April the 18th. We moved it from the first Saturday of the month because that's Easter Saturday.
Right.
So it's on the 18th of April. Doris very generously is coming back as our session leader for the second time in the series. Look forward to that very much. And she and I will confer, and then we will send out in the big group email that I usually send out with some information about the focus of the session. But the most important thing is you bring your good selves. And so thank you to all of you. I'm going to conclude the recording at this point. So that
Let's just say I haven't got any plans at the moment, so I'll have to research what I'm going to do. But I'll let you know as soon as possible. Okay.
Wonderful.
It'll be somewhere in the letter too, I would have thought, somehow.
Okay.
Passing into letter two somehow. Okay, thank you.